The first Navy Jack is the current U.S. Jack, authorized by the United States Navy and is flown from the jackstaff of commissioned vessels of the U.S. Navy while moored pierside or at anchor. The design is traditionally regarded as that of the first U.S. naval jack flown in the earliest years of the Republic history, in late 1775, as the first ships of the Continental Navy readied in the Delaware River. Commodore E.S.E.K. Hopkins issued, in a set of fleet signals, an instruction directing his vessels to fly its striped jack and ensign. The exact design of these flags is unknown. The ensign was likely to have been the Grand Union flag, and the jack a simplified version of the ensign, a field of 13 horizontal red and white stripes. It is likely that the colonial ships did not use the canton of the Grand Union flag as the jack, given its use as a jack by Royal Navy warships. Despite the probability that the original jack may have been a simple striped flag, since about 1880, this jack has traditionally been depicted as consisting of 13 red and white stripes charged with an uncoiled rattlesnake and the motto, "Don't tread on me." This tradition dates at least back to 1880, when this design appeared in a color plate in Admiral George Henry Preble's influential History of the Flag of the United States. Recent scholarship, however, has demonstrated that this inferred design never actually existed but was a 19th-century mistake based on an erroneous 1776 engraving. In 1778, John Adams and Benjamin Franklin wrote a letter to the ambassador of the Kingdom of Sicily, thanking him for allowing entry of American ships into Sicilian ports. The letter describes the American flag according to the 1777 flag resolution, but also describes a flag of South Carolina, a rattlesnake, in the middle of the 13 stripes. The rattlesnake had long been a symbol of resistance to the British in colonial America. The phrase "Don't tread on me" may have been coined during the American Revolutionary War, a variant perhaps of the snake severed in segments labeled with the names of the colonies and the legend "Join or Die," which had appeared first in Benjamin Franklin's Pennsylvania Gazette in 1754, as a political cartoon reflecting on the Albany Congress. The rattlesnake is especially significant and symbolic to the American Revolution. The rattle has 13 layers, signifying the original 13 colonies. Additionally, the snake does not strike until provoked, a quality echoed by the phrase "Don't tread on me." For more on the origin of the rattlesnake emblem, see the Gadsden flag. Modern use. Shipboard. The first Navy Jack was first used in recent history during the United States' bicentennial year, 1976, when all commissioned naval vessels were directed to fly while moored or anchored for the entire year, this in lieu of the standard 50-star Jack of the United States. In 1980, Secretary of the Navy Edward Hidalgo directed that the warship or fleet auxiliary with the longest active status shall display the first Navy Jack, until decommissioned or transferred to inactive service. Then the flag will be passed to the next ship in line. At the time, the order disregarded the sailing frigate U.S. Constitution, which, while technically the oldest vessel in the U.S. Navy, did not display the flag. As such, the honor of oldest ship in the fleet was conferred on the following U.S. Navy vessels: 1981, 1982, destroyer tender U.S. Dixie, commissioned in 1940. 1982 to 1993, destroyer tender U.S. Prairie, commissioned in 1940. 1993 to 1993, submarine tender U.S. Orion, commissioned in 1943. 1993, 1994, destroyer tender US Yosemite, commissioned in 1944, 1994, 1995, repair ship US Jason, commissioned in 1944. 1995 to 1995, ammunition ship US Mauna commissioned in 1957. 1995 to 1998, aircraft carrier US Independence, commissioned in 1959. 1998 to 2009, aircraft carrier US Kitty Hawk, commissioned in 1961. 2009 to 2012, aircraft carrier US Enterprise, commissioned in 1961. 2012 to 2014, amphibious transport dog US Denver, commissioned in 1968. 2014 present, amphibious command ship US Blue Ridge, commissioned in 1970. In late 2001, following a post-9/11 suggestion from retired Captain Brayton Harris, the Secretary of the Navy issued SEC Navy Instruction 10520.6, dated 31 May 2002, directing all warships and auxiliaries of the U.S. Navy to fly the first naval jack as a temporary substitution for the jack of the United States during the global war on terrorism. Most vessels made the switch on September 11, 2002, the first anniversary of the terrorist attacks. This directive only applied to commissioned vessels of the U.S. Navy, to include the previously excluded US Constitution. Commissioned vessels of the U.S. Coast Guard designated as United States Coast Guard cutter and USCG patrol boats, vessels of the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration, and the predominantly civilian manned vessels of the U.S. Navy's Military Sealift Command designated as United States Naval ship would continue to fly the jack of the United States from their jackstaffs while moored or at anchor. This first Navy jack, along with the Serapis flag, is also featured on the crest of the Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyer US John Paul Jones. Other U.S. Navy uses. Since the 11th of September 2001, the first Navy jack has also been flown on an optional basis from multi-heligaff-rigged flagpoles aboard U.S. Navy installations and facilities ashore, such use always being in addition to the flying of the United States ensign. The first Navy jack has also been authorized for wear as a patch by sailors and naval officers on flight suits and certain versions of the Navy working uniform, including sailors and naval officers wearing the Army combat uniform while assigned to and serving with Army units, at the discretion of the local Army commander. For the NWU and ACU, the patch is typically worn on the opposite sleeve as the U.S. flag. Sailors and naval officers assigned to the International Security Assistance Force are also authorized to wear the first Navy jack on their Army combat uniform. Operation Enduring Freedom camouflage pattern on the right sleeve, below the American flag. Other non-military uses, like other snake flags, unsanctioned use of the first Navy jack has also been used by individuals in the United States as a sign of protest or commemoration. For example, opponents to a smoking ban in Franklin, Indiana fly Navy jacks outside the homes and businesses. Conversely, a first Navy jack flag was also placed at a makeshift memorial on Boylston Street following the Boston Marathon bombings.